Welcome to Friday, September 22nd, 2023, your day with a podcast brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Cowboy State Daily is Wyoming's only statewide newspaper. Get your free digital subscription by hitting the subscribe button on cowboystatedaily.com. Heading on into the upcoming weekend, the first weekend officially of fall, and certainly it's going to be feeling that way with this Pacific system passing on through. Yesterday, again, we saw quite a bit of some widely scattered shower and thunderstorm activity across some of the plains areas. And as you'll see here in a minute, some very photogenic clouds and thunderstorms passing through the region yesterday afternoon and evening. Now, the main frontal system is going to be cooling things off, especially in the northern and western areas today, and then moving through the region tonight and into Friday. The most widespread rains we have showed you over the last couple of days, that continues to be on track. So Montana, northern Wyoming, parts of Idaho, southern Montana, the Dakotas, you're going to be the most wet. While we are still looking at later today, overnight, and especially Saturday, seeing some high winds along I-25 and Interstate 80. Snow will continue to be a threat in the northern mountains of Wyoming, southern and southwest Montana, eastern Idaho. Those areas going to see some snow up high, but it's a fairly quick moving system. It's going to accelerate. So it's going to be in and out fairly quickly. That means good weather's coming Sunday through the middle to the latter half of next week. So we go back to nice autumn weather again for several days once this front passes through. We see a larger, colder system somewhere in the western United States by next weekend, and that'll be the first days of October and the last days of September when that's going to roll on in. So that'll be the next one to keep an eye on. As I mentioned, just some fabulous photos coming in late yesterday afternoon and evening. We had some supercell thunderstorms, a few strong ones build up and get very tall. And with the low angle sun in the late afternoon and evening hours making for some spectacular photos coming on in particular of a strong thunderstorm that developed over southeastern Wyoming that rolled into portions of western areas of Nebraska. So just beautiful photos all across the region coming on in. And most of these photos are from the same thunderstorm. And you can see just taking up a huge portion of the sky as it developed and then moved off to the northeast. So thanks everybody for sending these photos in, a real treat to the eyes yesterday evening across the High Plains region. And also, we've got some photos from elsewhere, from Pine Haven, Wyoming, up in northeastern areas of Wyoming. Also, some big thunderstorms developing up there as well. Then here's a shot out of Nevada as Lyle driving on the way to a balloon rally in the area, going through some heavy showers and thunderstorms a little bit closer to that low pressure system coming in off the Pacific Northwest. And there you can see it. That swirl of clouds is in southwestern areas of Idaho. If it looks like it hasn't moved much over the last 24 hours, it's because it hasn't. It's just kind of spinning around there. But today it gets a push, and it's going to track just like this, then up into the northern plains tonight and into the day on Saturday. So the track of this system is going to be about as expected, taking that northerly route right along Interstate 90, and there you go. Very wet across North and South Dakota, Montana, those northern counties of Wyoming. And as we showed you yesterday, you get along in south of Interstate 80, I-70, you're in the downsloping or where the air goes downhill off the mountains instead of uphill, and you get that downsloping effect, and you just don't have the precipitation able to get going. That downsloping is killing it. But up here, closer to the track of the low, it is going to be cool and it's going to be wet later today, tonight, and through the day on Saturday. And as we've been showing, this is where the trend has been for that snow to want to fall, heaviest in the Bighorns and the northwestern and far western areas of Wyoming's mountain ranges, but also down into the Uintas and into parts of eastern Idaho as well. Even a few flakes of snow in the higher Black Hills, nothing that's going to amount to much of anything there. This is where the wind's going to be. This is going to be especially true tomorrow. Very windy conditions along I-80 and I-25. Strong crosswinds, especially I-25. So folks driving RVs, pulling trailers, you're going to want to keep that in mind over the next 48 hours. The good news, though, is this is fairly brief This system is in and out in a couple of days. High pressure builds in by Monday and into Tuesday. So this broad area of high pressure right here going to return us back to some nice weather. Mild temperatures and sunny to partly sunny skies and very nice September conditions again. Building up here in the Gulf of Alaska, though, is another low queuing up to come on in. And you can see by late next week, this trough is going to want to come into the western United States. Two options. One is it'll come through as a strong open wave, probably in the Friday, Saturday, Sunday time frame. Or maybe it'll take a little bit of a meandering down into the Great Basin and come in later, a day or two later if it slows down. That's kind of the two scenarios. The overall impacts, though, will be that trough's got to come through. And it's going to come through sometime late next week and next weekend. It will have more cold air with it. There's a stronger connection to Canada up there, less of a Pacific system and more of a Canadian one. So that's why this next trough, late next week and next weekend, may bring some higher impacts for hunters and travelers and outdoor interests. So we'll keep an eye on it for you. In the meantime, have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday.